All right, so today we're going to deep dive into something that I think a lot of you have probably thought about at one point or another,
Mm-hmm.
and that is building a side hustle for financial freedom.
Yeah.
Um, and we're going to be pulling some interesting ideas from this document that you've shared with me.
Right.
And I think you're going to walk away from this with some solid aha moments and some really practical steps you can take.
Absolutely.
So with that in mind,
Mhm.
I think a good place to start is to define what exactly is financial freedom.
Yeah, for sure.
This document defines it as not being totally dependent on a paycheck,
Right.
which sounds pretty appealing.
Yeah.
But what does that look like in practice?
Yeah, so it's about so much more than just money,
Right. Of
although obviously money is a key part of it.
course.
This document really emphasizes those psychological benefits, like the reduced stress
Mm.
and anxiety that come from knowing you're not trapped
Right.
in a situation that you can't get out of. It's about having options and the ability to make choices that really align with your values.
Absolutely. And speaking of feeling trapped, this document also gets into some of the inherent limitations of relying solely on a traditional job.
Yeah.
It talks about things like income caps,
Right.
lack of flexibility, and vulnerability to economic shifts.
Mhm.
Those are pretty real concerns for a lot of people, right?
Oh, definitely. And what's so fascinating about this document is it doesn't just present these as, abstract problems.
Yeah.
It frames them in a way that encourages you to think about your own situation.
Right.
It asks questions like, what would happen if you lost your job tomorrow? Or are you truly fulfilled by your current work?
Ooh.
So it's designed to really make you think
Yeah.
about the potential downsides of putting all your eggs in one basket.
So true. And that brings us to the whole point of this deep dive, finding your side hustle sweet spot. And this document offers some really solid advice on this,
Okay.
starting with the importance of mashing your passion with your skills.
Right. It's about finding that intersection between what you love to do and what other people are willing to pay you for.
Exactly.
And the document suggests some interesting brainstorming exercises like,
Okay.
listing out your skills, your hobbies, even things you've learned through past jobs or experiences.
That's interesting.
So it's kind of looking at yourself from a fresh perspective
Mm-hmm.
and seeing what unique assets you can bring to the table.
I love that. So it's not just about what's trendy. It's about looking at your own individual strengths
Okay.
and figuring out how you can leverage those
Exactly.
in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, the document also dives into the importance of platforms like Etsy and Fiverr.
Right.
It's pretty incredible how these online platforms have really opened up so many opportunities for people
Yeah.
to actually, turn their passions into an income.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is that the document doesn't just, mention these platforms.
Right.
It explains how to use them effectively.
Oh.
It talks about, creating compelling profiles and showcasing your work,
Mm-hmm.
using keywords to make sure potential customers can find you.
Okay, so let's say you got your passion, you've got your skills, and you've even identified a potential platform.
Right.
What are some of the key strategies for actually making this side hustle thing work?
Well, this document is pretty clear that there's no magic bullet,
Sure.
Success takes hard work and dedication and a willingness to learn and adapt. But
Right.
it does outline some really practical strategies, starting with setting clear goals
Okay.
and creating a detailed plan,
Yeah.
breaking down those big goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
You know me so well. I'm all about those small wins and celebrating the progress.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of it all and lose sight of the practical aspects.
Yeah.
What else does this document emphasize?
Well, one thing that stood out to me was the importance of developing a strong work ethic, treating your side hustle like a real business, even if you're just starting out,
Right.
setting deadlines, being reliable, and delivering high quality work,
Right.
which ultimately builds trust with your clients.
Right. And isn't that what it's all about? Building that reputation
Yeah.
and creating a sustainable income stream.
Yeah.
That's where the real financial freedom comes in.
Exactly. It's not about
Right.
getting rich quick. It's about building something you can rely on,
Yeah.
something that gives you that sense of security and autonomy.
And that's where this document gets really interesting. It dives into the real life stories of people who've actually done it.
Mm-hmm.
It profiles people like Sarah, who turned her passion for jewelry making into a thriving Etsy business, or Michael, who leveraged his teaching skills to create a successful online tutoring platform.
Right, and what's so fascinating about these examples is they highlight the diversity of paths to success.
Yeah.
There's no one-size-fits-all formula.
Right.
Sarah focused on building a strong brand and creating unique handcrafted pieces,
Mm.
while Michael honed in on a specific niche, like high school students struggling with calculus, and marketed his services directly to them.
It really reinforces the idea that it's about finding your own unique path,
Yeah,
your own way of combining your passions and skills with the market demand.
exactly.
But I imagine it can be pretty daunting to take that first step,
Oh, for sure.
especially if you're juggling a full-time job and other commitments.
Absolutely. The document addresses that head on,
Okay.
acknowledging that time management is a major hurdle for most people.
Right.
It suggests practical strategies like breaking down your side hustle into smaller tasks,
Mm-hmm.
scheduling dedicated work blocks, and even utilizing those little pockets of downtime, like your commute or your lunch break,
Right.
to make progress.
It's all about finding those creative ways to squeeze it in.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for 15 minutes here and there.
Mhm.
But what about the financial aspect?
Right.
Starting a side hustle often requires some initial investment, right?
Right. And the document doesn't shy away from that. It encourages you to be realistic about the costs involved and to factor those into your planning.
Mm-hmm.
It even suggests, starting small and reinvesting those early profits back into the business.
It's all about that bootstrapping mentality.
Exactly.
But I think one of the biggest hurdles for people is overcoming fear.
Oh, yeah.
The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
How does the document address that mental hurdle?
Well, what's interesting is it doesn't try to sugarcoat the challenges.
Yeah?
It acknowledges that there will be setbacks, there will be moments of doubt,
Sure.
and there will be times when you want to throw in the towel.
Of course.
But it also reframes failure as an opportunity for growth.
So it's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning from it
Exactly.
and using those experiences to refine your approach.
Mm.
That's a really powerful shift in perspective.
It is, and it goes hand in hand with another key point in the document, which is the importance of seeking support and guidance. It encourages you to connect with other entrepreneurs, join online communities, even find a mentor who can offer advice and encouragement along the way.
Right.
It's about recognizing that you don't have to do this alone.
And that's something we can all benefit from, a little bit of support and guidance, especially when we're venturing into new territory.
For sure.
Speaking of new territory, this document also gets into the nitty-gritty of things like marketing and branding.
Yeah.
It talks about, defining your target audience, crafting a compelling brand message,
Mm-hmm.
and utilizing online tools to reach potential customers.
And it doesn't just throw around buzzwords. It actually explains these concepts in a way that makes sense for somebody who's just starting out.
Okay.
It even provides concrete examples of how to use social media, email marketing, even SEO to attract customers and build your brand.
It's like a mini marketing crash course all wrapped up in this document.
Right.
But I think one of the most valuable pieces of advice it offers is to just take action.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in that planning phase.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, you just got to dive in.
Absolutely. And that can be scary, but the document emphasizes the importance of starting small.
Yeah.
Experimenting and learning as you go. You don't have to have everything figured out from day one.
Right.
You can iterate and adapt along the way.
So it's all about embracing that learning curve
Mm-hmm.
and using those early experiences to refine your approach.
Exactly.
What else stands out to you as we kind of wrap up this section on strategies?
Well, one thing that really resonated with me was the emphasis on consistency.
Okay.
It's not about working yourself to the bone.
Yeah.
It's about showing up consistently, even if it's just for a few hours a week,
Right.
and making steady progress towards your goals.
Mhm.
It's like building a muscle. You have to train it regularly
Yeah.
to see results.
And I think that's a great metaphor to carry with us as we move into the next part of our discussion. The real world challenges and how to
Yeah.
overcome them.
For sure.
So we've talked about, the why, the what, even the how of building a successful side hustle. But let's get real. What are some of the common challenges people face when trying to make this work?
Yeah.
And how does this document suggest we tackle them?
Well, one of the biggest hurdles, and the document acknowledges this, is time management.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to balance a full-time job, family commitments, and still carve out time for your side hustle.
Totally. It's
Well-
like there are just not enough hours in the day.
Right. And that's where the document's advice on setting realistic goals comes in.
Okay.
It encourages you to start small, maybe dedicate just an hour or two each day,
Right.
and gradually increase your commitment as you gain momentum.
Okay.
It also emphasizes the importance of prioritizing tasks
Hmm.
and focusing on those activities that'll have the biggest impact on your business.
So it's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And it's about being flexible
Okay.
and adapting your schedule as needed.
Hmm.
The document even suggests utilizing those unexpected pockets of time,
Oh, like what?
like waiting in line, commuting, even those few minutes before a meeting
Right.
to get things done.
I love that it's about squeezing in those little wins whenever you can.
Yeah.
But what about the financial side of things?
Yeah.
Starting a side hustle can require some initial investment, which can be a barrier for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And the document doesn't shy away from that.
Okay, good.
It encourages you to create a budget,
Mm-hmm.
track your expenses, and be mindful of your spending.
Right.
It even suggests exploring low-cost marketing strategies like social media and content marketing to get your business off the ground without, breaking the bank.
It's about being resourceful and finding creative ways to make your money work for you.
Exactly.
But I think one of the biggest challenges, and maybe this is something you can relate to, is overcoming self-doubt.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in those negative thoughts.
For sure.
Like, what if I fail?
Mm-hmm.
What if people don't like my work?
Yeah.
How does the document address that mental hurdle?
It's definitely something I've struggled with, and the document's advice really resonated with me. It emphasizes the importance of shifting your mindset from fear to possibility.
Ooh, I like that.
Focusing on your strengths, celebrating your wins, and viewing setbacks as opportunities for growth.
It's about reframing those negative thoughts
Yeah.
and turning them into fuel for progress.
Exactly. And it's about surrounding yourself with a supportive community, people who believe in your vision
Mm-hmm.
and can offer encouragement and guidance along the way.
Yeah.
The document highlights the value of networking, joining online communities, and even seeking out mentors who can share their experiences and insights.
So it's not just about the practical strategies, it's about the emotional and mental support as well.
Absolutely. And I think the document's final piece of advice is the most important one.
Which is?
It encourages you to take action.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to get stuck in the planning phase,
Right.
but at some point you just have to dive in and start experimenting.
You got to put those plans into motion and see what happens.
Exactly. And it's about embracing the journey, knowing that there will be ups and downs along the way.
Mm-hmm.
The document reminds us that building a successful side hustle is a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
It's about consistent effort, dedication, and a willingness to learn and adapt.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Mm-hmm.
I think the key takeaway is that financial freedom through a side hustle is achievable.
Yeah.
It's not a pipe dream. It's a real possibility for anyone who's willing to put in the work, embrace the challenges, and never give up on their vision.
I couldn't agree more. This document provides a roadmap,
Mm-hmm.
a set of tools and strategies, but ultimately it's up to each individual to take that first step
Right.
and start building the future they desire.
So if you're feeling inspired, if you're ready to take control of your financial destiny, take that leap of faith. Start small, experiment, and never stop learning. Who knows? Maybe someday you'll be the one sharing your success story, inspiring others to take their own journey toward financial freedom. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you next time. Okay, so we've talked about the why, the what, and the how of building a successful side hustle.
Right.
But let's get real for a second.
Yeah.
What are some of those common challenges that people face
Mhm.
when they're actually trying to make this work?
Yeah.
And how does the document suggest we tackle them?
Well, one of the biggest hurdles, and the document acknowledges this, is time management.
Yeah.
It's tough to balance, a full-time job, family commitments,
Right.
and then still try to find the time to work on your side hustle.
Totally.
It can be tough.
Yeah. It's like there are just not enough hours in the day sometimes.
Right. And that's where the document's advice on setting realistic goals comes in.
Okay.
It encourages you to start small,
Mm-hmm.
maybe just dedicate an hour or two each day.
Right.
And then gradually increase your commitment as you kind of gain momentum.
Yeah.
It also emphasizes the importance of prioritizing tasks
Yeah.
and really focusing on those activities that will have the biggest impact on your business.
Okay. So it's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And being flexible,
Right.
adapting your schedule as needed.
Mm-hmm.
The document even suggests, utilizing those little unexpected pockets of time,
Oh, like what?
like waiting in line,
Okay.
your commute,
Yeah.
even those few minutes before a meeting to kind of get things done.
Right. You squeeze it in when you can.
Yeah,
But what about the financial side of things?
right.
Starting a side hustle often requires some initial investment, right?
It can.
Which can be a barrier for some people.
Absolutely. And the document doesn't shy away from that.
Okay, good.
It encourages you to create a budget,
Mm-hmm.
track your expenses, be mindful of your spending.
Right.
And it even suggests exploring low-cost marketing strategies like
Right.
social media and content marketing
Right.
Yeah.
to kind of get your business off the ground without breaking the bank.
It's about being resourceful
Right.
and finding creative ways to make that money work for you.
Mm.
But I think one of the biggest challenges,
Yeah.
and maybe this is something you can relate to,
Mm-hmm.
is overcoming that self-doubt.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in those negative thoughts.
It is.
Like, what if I fail?
Mm-hmm.
What if people don't like my work?
Right, right.
How does this document address that?
It's definitely something I've struggled with.
Yeah.
And the document's advice really resonated with me.
Okay, what'd they say?
It emphasized the importance of shifting your mindset
Oh, okay.
from fear to possibility,
I like that.
focusing on your strengths, celebrating your wins,
Mhm.
and viewing setbacks as opportunities for growth.
So it's about reframing those negative thoughts
Yeah,
and using them as fuel. to,
exactly.
yeah.
And it's about surrounding yourself with a supportive community.
Yeah.
People who believe in your vision and can offer encouragement and guidance along the way.
Yeah.
The document highlights the value of networking,
Right.
joining online communities, and even seeking out mentors who can share their experiences and insights.
It's not just about the practical strategies. It's about the emotional and the mental support
Absolutely.
that can really make a difference.
And I think that the document's final piece of advice is the most important one.
Okay.
It encourages you to take action.
To just go for it.
Yeah. It's so easy to get stuck in the planning phase.
Yeah.
But at some point, you just have to dive in and start experimenting.
Right. You just got to put those plans into motion
Exactly.
and see what happens.
And embrace the journey knowing that there will be ups and downs along the way.
Mm-hmm.
The document reminds us that building a successful side hustle is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah. It's about consistency.
It is. It's about consistent effort, dedication, and a willingness to learn and adapt.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Mm,
I think the key takeaway here is that financial freedom
right.
through a side hustle is achievable.
It is.
It's not some pipe dream.
Nope.
It's a real possibility for anyone
Yeah.
who's willing to put in the work,
Mhm.
embrace those challenges,
Yeah.
and never give up on their vision.
I couldn't agree more. This document provides a roadmap,
Mhm.
a set of tools and strategies,
Yeah.
but ultimately it's up to each individual
Right.
to take that first step and start building the future that they desire.
So if you're feeling inspired,
Yeah.
if you're ready to take control of your financial destiny,
Mm-hmm.
take that leap of faith.
Do it.
Start small experiment and never stop learning.
Keep learning.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe someday you'll be the one sharing your success story,
Right.
inspiring others to take their own journey towards financial freedom.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive,
It was fun.
and we'll see you next time.